This week, we are dealing with loss. Well, what do you do when the thing you have lost is a job? Hey, everyone, it's Emily, the Career Catalyst. So here are some practical tips for dealing with the loss of a job. First thing you can do when you have lost a job is take care of the practical stuff that needs your attention. Figure out how much money you have in savings, figure out what your monthly budget is, if there's a severance package, all of that. You may want to go talk to someone in HR and just see kind of what the options are. If it's something like a layoff, you may actually get all of your unused PTO in a lump sum payout. It may be that you are entitled to another month of pay. You may actually also be able to access things like health insurance for an additional month, whatever it is. Talk to someone who's in a sort of HR role and see what those practicalities are. If you have been let go from a job, you also going to want to be sure you go and talk with someone at your state's unemployment office and see what you qualify for and how you file for unemployment insurance. And that can be a really nice way to bridge the gap. Now, if it looks like you're in a really sort of bad situation financially, then one of the practical things you can do is look for something to tide you over. What that looks like for you is going to be very individual. There are loads and loads of service type jobs open now. Everything from food service to delivery driving type jobs, grocery store, that kind of thing. If that isn't appealing to you, then we can also talk about things like gig jobs, contract work, that sort of thing. These are designed, in my mind anyway, to be very short term, to get you over the hump financially so that you just don't have to have any kind of panic as you go into whatever the heck is next for you. But on that note, after you've done all of that kind of stuff, dealing with the job loss, then what we get to do is figure out what's next for you. Now, this is one of those things that's really easy to say and really hard to do, but what I really encourage you to do is try to think about this not as a job loss, but as an opportunity for something new. I know that's a little bit sunshiny, but if you can repeatedly remind yourself that there was something off about the job anyway, then you may be able to come around to that perspective a little bit sooner. I don't want you to be kind of faking it. If it feels really gross, let it feel really gross. You're absolutely welcome to take a day off for mourning a loss of a job, or if you're feeling angry about it, whatever it is. And it can be a couple of days, honestly, if you need it to be. Do whatever needs doing. Get your focus back where it needs to be. If you're going to take a day or two to kind of mourn the loss of a job, give yourself a timeline, because it's really easy to sink into it a little bit too much. And what happens then is that you don't turn your attention to the stuff that's going to be more impactful and going to really help drive you forward. So take that time for mourning, but set a deadline. And when that comes, then you're going to really start looking for what's next. I would encourage you to start by doing a few different things. First off, draw up a list of your skills. As you're doing that, I would say pay special attention to the skills that you really enjoy using, because those are going to be the main things that we look to highlight as you're applying for new jobs. Then you're going to want to make a list of what you really want and don't want from the next job. And I encourage people to make sure that part of that list is absolute must-haves and absolute deal breakers. Whatever those are for you, they may be related to the last job you had, they may not. But start drawing up that list. And then what you're going to do is you're really going to activate your network. You're going to let everyone you know who is in a position to be helpful to you that you're looking. And how much you tell them or not tell them, you don't tell them, is really up to you. It's very individual. But if you have some really trustworthy people in your network, and I hope you do, then those are the people that you can do a little bit of complaining to and ask for some support in whatever is next for you. Tell people what you're looking for. It's really confusing for people who want to help you, who just kind of vaguely know that you need a job. If you can give them a specific title, that's great. If there is a particular place you'd like to work, that's also great. As specific as you can be, basically, is going to be what's really helpful to them. And then the other thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to start updating your resume. Now, many of us wind up with resumes that are very outdated because once you have a job, it's not sort of front of mind to keep updating the document. The sooner you can begin updating it, though, the better, because what you've actually accomplished in your previous role is going to be really fresh in your mind. So try really jotting down all of the stuff that you've accomplished in this most recent role so that your resume is pretty much ready to go. If you're going to change careers, you'll need to change it a little bit so that it targets the new career a little bit better. But regardless, you want to be sure you get all of your info in there just so it's really current. If you use LinkedIn, do some updating there as well. If it's not a good fit for you, don't worry about it. Once your resume is pretty much ready to go, though, as people begin to tell you about other options, other places to apply, you're going to be poised to just hit that apply button. I do generally encourage you to write a cover letter if it's something that is considered normal in your field. It's often going to push you over the top. If it's not considered normal in your field, then you have the option certainly not to worry about it. But it's one of those things that a little bit of extra effort can make a big difference on. So think about a cover letter. Don't kill yourself doing it. Really start taking these action steps to get your next job. Now, with the benefit of some hindsight, you should be able to see why the previous thing was perhaps not a fit. Often it's just a case of maybe a financial situation at the previous company that just wasn't going to be sustainable. And that's perhaps why they had layoffs or whatever it is. So the point is that you're going to want to take care of your practicalities. Then you're going to want to have kind of a little bit of downtime to feel all of the feelings. And then you're going to want to get practical again. So nice little sandwich of some tips here to do when you have experienced a job loss. If you have additional tips, I'd love to hear them from you. Feel free to put them in the chat. Have a good weekend, and I will see you here again soon.